I fundamentally want to create a better life for myself, and I have hope, and I can see that I can make positive changes. And before, when I was drinking, I couldn't see those things. Hello, welcome. In this video, we're going to be talking about 9 ways that quitting alcohol helped me glow up inside and out. I quit alcohol because I'm an alcoholic, so I kind of didn't have a choice. These benefits will be applicable to you whether or not you decided to quit alcohol because you realized you had a problem with drinking like I did, or you're just quitting it as an experiment to see if anything changes. I'm going to talk about the things that I have noticed that have changed. The first one is that through quitting alcohol, I did lose some weight. This is not the case for everyone, particularly if you are someone in recovery like me. I've heard people say they put on more weight because they were using alcohol as a coping mechanism, and so once that is removed, they then pivot and turn to food instead, so then they put on weight. For me, I was able to lose some weight through quitting drinking and focusing more on good nutrition, balanced nutrition, as opposed to drinking my calories and then also eating like crisps and cheese and chocolate and just things that were easy to eat. The second thing I noticed when I quit drinking was that my skin improved. Now, I do not have great skin. I have always had spots. For me though, the way my face is now is I wasn't gonna say perfect. It's definitely not perfect, but compared to how bad it used to be when I was a teenager, if you told me this is what my face was gonna look like eventually, I would have been like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Because alcohol is a diuretic, it dehydrates you, and you can see that in your skin. I look through old photos that I have, and I've got very few photos because I'd put on so much weight. I was really self-conscious and didn't like being in photos. Of the ones that were taken, I can see that my skin is very dull. I mean, now I've got makeup on, so you can't really tell either way. My skin now just looks a lot brighter and healthier than it did before. The next way that quitting alcohol helped me to glow up was that I improved my confidence. I have recently done a whole video about how to build your confidence, so I will link that for you up here if you want to check that out. This was a really difficult one. This was more of an active one where I had to take steps, whereas the better skin that we just talked about, that kind of happened as soon as I quit drinking, and it just sort of improved by itself, which was great. But with the confidence thing, it was a process of putting myself in uncomfortable situations, which I then had to deal with sober as opposed to drinking. Through putting myself in those situations, I was able to grow my confidence, lean into the way that I am, and if sometimes I'm a bit awkward or a bit shy or a bit quiet, I'm just like, well, this is who I am. The next thing that I noticed was that I had a lot less anxiety once I'd quit drinking. Now, I will say mine was quite extreme because my drinking was quite extreme. I would have like apocalyptic thoughts at like 4 in the morning. There were some really, really dark, horrible, anxious times. But I think anyone, regardless of whether you drink problematically or not, anyone who has had a heavy night will be familiar with the feeling of waking up in the middle of the night and either needing to drink like a whole glass of water or having your heart beat out of your chest, feeling anxious, and that's brought on by the drinking. They do talk about anxiety as something that happens the day after you drink. So yes, you might have a hangover, be feeling very sick or tired, but you may also feel increased anxiety. You might think that that is a good trade-off, like you might be willing to put up with that anxiety if you're like, well, I had a really fun time with my friends or had a nice dinner out and then we went to karaoke or whatever. But if you quit drinking, you may notice that there is a considerable reduction in the amount of anxiety just in general you feel, not only anxiety the day after. The next thing is that I became more present and reliable in my relationships. It's not quite like waving a magic wand over all of my relationships and connections and being like, oh, quitting alcohol made this all better. But it did have a big impact, which is why I'm including it in this glow up video. I'm not saying that now I am always 100% reliable. It's definitely better than it used to be when I was drinking, because I would make all kinds of promises. I would have all of these big ideas, but then I would never be able to follow through on them because I would be hungover or drinking. The being present one particularly, I went to a wedding sober last year. Being present, being able to notice all of the shifts in people's moods or in the atmosphere of the evening, like just being able to notice small things because I wasn't drinking, has resulted in a really long-lasting memory of that evening, as opposed to I've been to other weddings where I was drinking. I wasn't drinking so heavily that I like blacked out at these weddings, and maybe as well it's because they were longer ago, so trying to bring some balance here, but I have more sort of like snapshots of what was happening as opposed to an overall picture of the evening. Not even in terms of a big event like that, although it is obvious there if you're not drinking, the contrast can be more stark. But even just in everyday interactions, just being in the moment more. That has been a huge benefit that I felt. A massive glow up has happened in terms of my spiritual connection with the world. Now, this may not apply to you, you may not think about this at all. I was really not engaged spiritually at all, either with God or with the world when I was drinking, because the most important thing was alcohol. So now that I'm sober and I'm not drinking anymore, I have the energy to actually nurture that connection, that relationship with God, and also just notice small things that help me feel spiritually aware and connected with the world. And I actually care about taking that time to sit outside and really notice the birds and feel connected with nature, or to take the time to sit down and pray, do some spiritual reading. I've got some books there, I don't know if you can see them. I actually care about these things now, and I have the energy to do that, and as a result I have felt a massive shift in my mindset and in how grounded I feel. Having a spiritual foundation to your life, or to my life, has been one aspect of the glow up of sobriety that I'm really grateful for, which leads us on to the next thing, which is gratitude. I have had a complete perspective shift having got sober, and one thing that has played a big role in that is developing an attitude of gratitude. Sorry to be annoying. Doing a daily gratitude list has really developed my ability to notice and appreciate the little things, and to always find something good in every situation, even if it's something that's annoying me, or I'm scared, or I feel bored or annoyed. There is always something that I can find to be grateful for. Just by doing a small daily gratitude list, you don't realise the big impact it will have on you if you do this every single day. It's sort of a circular thing. Quitting alcohol and getting sober has been such a miraculous experience for me that I will always have something to be grateful for. Like, I can always, or even on the worst day, I still can be grateful for the fact that I'm not drinking anymore, and that my days now look very different to how they used to. I talk more about gratitude journaling in my 300 days of gratitude journaling video, so I will link that for you if you want to check that out. The next way that quitting alcohol has contributed to my glow up is that I now actually care about the way that I look. I have done something with my hair. I'm doing pineapple hair. I've got jewellery on. I'm wearing makeup. I actually, wash my hair regularly. I shower regularly. Not to get too dark, but I didn't care about any of these things when I was drinking. And again, I know that I was like an extreme case of how drinking can stop you from caring about anything. Just having the energy to do these things and to really care. It's kind of embarrassing looking back. Not embarrassing, but it just feels nice to actually put some effort into the way you look. I've gone for like a more grungy look now because I've got this check shirt and my Smiths t-shirt, and I maybe could have done some darker makeup, but I wanted to keep it light. But do you know what I mean? Just small things like that, small little details that can bring me joy and that I can put on my gratitude list. Like, these things I didn't bother with before, and now I'm really grateful that I have the energy to, and that I care about the way that I look and the way that I'm presenting myself to the world. I would also link to this the fact that when I was drinking, my self-development was paused, basically. Is this still recording? Had a little panic that it wasn't recording. My self-development was on pause, so we talked about like my physical appearance, but I mean just like in general, I was not progressing spiritually, emotionally, mentally. I was not learning any new skills. I was kind of coasting on my degree. There was no space for any of those things. So I've been able to have a bit of a glow up through quitting drinking because I am now interested in those self-development things. I like reading non-fiction books as well as fiction books. These ones are all non-fiction. I've picked up a habit of journaling every day. We've already talked about gratitude journaling, but journaling in general, just trying to get in touch with my feelings. I'm reading No Bad Parts by Richard Schwartz to learn more about myself and why I do certain things. I want to do these things now, and I didn't used to want to do them. And I want to create better habits, be more healthy. We talked a bit about food and nutrition. I fundamentally want to create a better life for myself, and I have hope, and I can see that I can make positive changes and that they will have an impact. And before, when I was drinking, I couldn't see those things. I am very grateful that I am not drinking anymore. And I'm grateful for all of the things that we've talked about here, all of these ways that alcohol had stopped me from growing, but that through quitting drinking, I've been able to glow up, to improve myself, both inside and then also outside. Are you thinking of quitting drinking? Do you drink? Do you not drink? Have you stopped drinking and also noticed that your skin is better, or that you have more energy to put into self-development or journaling or reading, please let me know in the comments below. I'm doing a daily video challenge for the next few weeks on my channel, so if you are still watching, hello, and if you want to keep up with my daily video challenge, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.